As of June 26, 2022, there are 48 volcanoes actively erupting on the planet. One of these erupting volcanoes is Ebeko in the nation of Russia, which began a new explosive eruption sequence on June 11th of 2022. Like previous eruptions, its new eruption consisted solely of intermittent phreatic explosions which sent plumes of ash up to a height of 2.5 kilometers or 8,200 feet. Thus, its alert level was raised to yellow on June 17th. With this being said, here are this week's major volcano-related news stories. In Vanuatu, the highly scenic Ambrym volcano is showing significant signs of unrest, meaning that a new eruption could occur with little or no warning. Meanwhile, on the same island which produced the latest eruption from Ebeko, an additional separate volcano produced another new eruption, sending a plume of ash several thousand meters into the atmosphere. And, in California, a series of earthquakes occurred underneath the highly dangerous Long Valley caldera, causing some people to think it was volcanic in origin. For context, the Long Valley volcano is one of 3 active supervolcanoes in the United States, with the other 2 being the Valles caldera in New Mexico and Yellowstone, Wyoming. Long Valley produced a catastrophic eruption 767,000 years ago, which was 600 times larger than the 1980 eruption of Mount St. Helens, ejecting 144 cubic miles of volcanic rock. This formed a 20-mile long and 11-mile wide depression in the ground called a caldera. Since then, the area has been a figurative hotspot for recent volcanic activity within the state as 3 separate volcanic chains were constructed along its western edge. This chain stretches from south of Mammoth Mountain to Mono Lake and last produced a confirmed eruption in 1790. However, the ongoing earthquake swarm is not centered adjacent to those 3 volcanoes, but rather within the Long Valley caldera itself, which has not erupted for 16,000 years. This specific spot has produced numerous earthquakes in part due to a shallow intrusion of magma which began in 1979, resulting in the volcano's alert level being temporarily raised to yellow in 1982, although this did not result in an eruption. However, since then, the caldera has continued to be uplifted by several centimeters a year, resulting in relatively frequent low-magnitude earthquake swarms. Although the latest series of more than 400 earthquakes which began on June 17th might appear to be magmatic, they are in fact completely tectonic. These ongoing quakes are caused by the slow movement of the large Hilton Creek fault zone, which produced 4 magnitude 6 earthquakes in 1980. The largest quake in the ongoing swarm occurred on June 20th and was a meager magnitude 3.0. In the context of previous earthquake swarms, this ongoing sequence is not truly noteworthy but represents something which occurs at the volcano several times a year. Meanwhile, in Russia, the Chikurachki volcano produced a new explosive eruption 12 days after the nearby Ebeko volcano also erupted anew. Chikurachki is located on the western portion of the island of Paramushir and is luckily not close to any population centers. On June 23rd, it produced its first explosive eruption since February 2nd, sending a plume of ash 4,600 meters or 15,000 feet into the atmosphere. This plume was near continuous, representing an energetic Volcanian sequence. The plume subsequently drifted to the southeast, causing minor regional flight disruptions. Eruptions from Chikurachki tend to be brief, with a vast majority lasting less than 2 weeks. In the next several days, the eruption is likely to continue at an intermittent rate, but shouldn't cause any effects to the city of Severokurisk on the same island other than a potential light dusting of ash. In Vanuatu, both the Asur and Ambrym volcanoes are erupting. Very soon, a 3rd volcano, Ambrym, may join this list. After a brief eruption from this highly scenic volcano from January 25th to February 2nd, the volcano became relatively quiet. Then, beginning in March, a large amount of uplift began occurring due to the movement of magma underneath the volcano's eastern section of its large caldera, which likely involves around half a cubic kilometer of material. If Ambrym does erupt again, a large volume flank eruption is a likely scenario near the epicenter of its uplift, which could be either effusive or explosive, depending on exactly where it begins. However, a new eruption could also occur within Ambrym's 2 summit craters, or in a worst-case scenario migrate to a series of cracks which formed during a 2018 eruption on the island's east. For now, an eruption is not imminent, but scientists are keeping a close eye on this volcano. Here is a quick list of every volcano which is currently erupting. Also, here are some volcanoes showing signs of unrest which are not erupting but could erupt in the near future. Thanks for watching. If you would like to request a specific topic, please leave a comment below. Additionally, I would like to thank my new patron Ryan C. Johnson for supporting this channel.